Okay, a lot of you have wrote in concerning, this is a little leaf that we did at our wood carving meeting the other night. Simple project, extremely simple and stuff like that. And I try to talk to people and tell them, do simple projects at first. A lot of people, when they get started in wood carving, their problem that they have so often is, number one, your knife must be sharp, okay? You need to have a sharp knife. You need to learn how to sharpen that knife. And when it's not sharp, you're going to struggle. And when you struggle with it, then there you get cut or you have problems with it or whatever. And here's the blank for this, and I'm going to show you some things as we go along here. Your knife must be sharp, and I'm talking about sharp where when you begin to cut on something, that knife should move like that. See that? That knife should just be able to shave. A lot of people got this idea where they shave their arm and it's sharp enough and all this stuff, and it's razor sharp and all that things, but I never do that. I don't know. I know when my knife is sharp because I know when I go to cut a piece, I go to shave off a piece, it shaves off the wood. Just because it'll shave hair off your arm does not mean it'll shave the wood. It does not. Okay? Now, that's a thing that a lot of people do, they'll shave the hair, but what concerns me is when I go and the reason for this is because I don't have to force this knife to get in here and do that. When the knife cuts, for instance, just like this, when the knife cuts like that, when it cuts like this, then you know you've got a sharp knife. Okay? See? When you can just shave that wood like that, and I'm just barely moving now, see? I'm not having to force the wood. I'm not having to force it. I'm just shaving it like that. Then I've got a sharp knife. So the key, number one, is sharpness. That's key number one. And if I go to the back of here, which look at that, see? As I'm doing the push cut, I'm just dragging that knife along there, and look at it. It's cutting just the way I want it to cut. See? That is what makes your ability to carve and do things like that as a unique experience, is the sharpness of the knife. Make sure that that knife is sharp. And if you don't know how to sharpen a knife, then get you some books, or if you have a carving club nearby, maybe they can help you learn how to sharpen it, and they get the tools to do that. See, a lot of people want me to show them exactly how to sharpen, but once again, you take 100 carvers, you ask them how to sharpen a knife, and you get 100 answers, I'm telling you. So it's best to sit down with someone who is very good at sharpening and let them show and teach you how to do that. I think that's the hardest thing to teach on video, is to how to sharpen. Because a lot of people, they get it, and a lot of people don't get it. And so many people want to start carving right away, so immediately they go and they get a knife, or they get one in and it's sharp, and then all of a sudden they use it a little while and it gets dull, and they don't know how to sharpen it again, and they become discouraged. So, and I know a lot of people are not near carving clubs and stuff like that, But you would be surprised how many people can sharpen knives and know how to do it. And once again, I don't sharpen my knives, I strop my knives. I strop them with a leather strop, and just to keep the hone on them. And by doing that, I keep my knives sharp. If you were here, if I was with you, I could show you how to do it. But it's really tough unless, you know, the way I teach, or the way I figure a lot of people is this way. I show you how, and then you do it. And by you doing it and doing it over and over again, that's how you learn. It's easy to show someone how to do something, but they have to do it themselves. And that's what we have to realize a lot of times too. And I understand people calling and going, well, I just still don't understand about sharpening and stuff like that. And I try desperately to show people, but I also understand that until you do it, until you put it to work, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you. Very difficult for you. So that is the first thing. This next thing is you want to get you, I've talked about basswood. Want to get you some good wood. And why is basswood, why is it the most used wood? Because number one, it's cheap. It's cheaper than most woods. Number two, if you see this, you have very little grain in basswood, so it will, if your knife is sharp, it will cut very well. It will, and so basically it's available. Now I know a lot of people that live overseas. I understand that. They live overseas and they don't get basswood. In fact, a lot of them get what's known as lime wood, which is a English basswood, as we might say, or Northern European basswood. Now I know it's not as, it's more grainy, it's a little bit harder and stuff like that. But down deep, basswood is the ideal working wood to work with. And if you have a sharp knife, you see how just good basswood is, how wonderful you can take it and work with it and everything else that you go. So these are the two main factors of carving. Get you the right kind of wood, and get you and learn how to sharpen your knife. Because so many people want to do something, but they're not willing to take the time to learn what they need to learn. And sometimes it takes you a little while to learn how to sharpen. It really does, to get it just the way you want it. It took me a little while, but also I didn't have anyone that was available to me to help me learn back when I first started carving, so it took a little while. And as you can see, with a sharp knife, I'm going to run that knife right down the middle here, and then on both sides I'm going to cut out just like that. See how when a sharp knife, when you have a sharp knife, how good it works. Now another thing about basswood, why it is the ideal wood to use, is so many people think that wood, I have to get a softwood. But basically basswood is not really what you would call a softwood. It's actually, it's grown up north, the basswood tree. And the difference between, because you have balsa wood, which is very soft. You have cedar, which is soft. You have redwood, which is soft. You have, so why is it the fact that we choose basswood over these other softer woods? And it's very simple. Because basswood doesn't have the grain. And a lot of people don't understand and struggle with the fact that as I cut this, you notice there's hardly any grain in this. So my knife can actually slide through that without worrying about breaking or anything like that. And without grain, you don't have the resistance of the knife. Whereas with cedar and things like that, you have a very large grain and you just have a real issue with them. In other words, they break. You have some problems with them. But you see, that knife can just slide through that wood. When it's sharp, I'm talking about when it's sharp. Okay? So this is one of the reasons that that we use basswood, because it doesn't have the grain that will battle you and fight with you. And it's a very pretty wood. When you get through with it, you have this beautiful white wood that you have here. And it takes paint well, it takes stain well, it does all these things. So in a matter of speaking, it's the all-around ideal wood that can be used. Now I know people carve all different types of wood. I'm not saying they don't. But basswood is the ideal wood. It is available through Heineke Wood, and it is good, clean. You can get good, clean. Look at that, no knots, anything. Good, clean stock that you can get there to do these type projects. So it is ideal for that. And as you can see right here, I'm just going to cut these leaf things right here. Not only a knife, but a gouge, your gouges, your and see, you can just take your knife and just do this little number. Your knife, your gouges all go through it real good. Basswood has been the prime carving wood for people and carvers ever since it first started. Even the great carver Andy Anderson back in the, they used basswood. So now you'll find a lot of carvings that were done long ago in Europe and places like that where they used other woods, but you have to realize too, these people used whatever they could get their hands on. So I mean, you can use boxwood, you can use crate wood, you can use things like that. So a lot of people picked up these type of woods and used them. Now, I am going to say this, and I have said it before, and I will say it again. If you are starting off to carve, I do not recommend using a pocket knife. They have too many good knives. I made this knife, by the way. I made the handle. You can actually get these blades, and look how sharp it is. Look how sharp it was. I sharpened it. You can get these blades and make your own knife. I know that a lot of people like to go and say, well, I used a pocket knife, or there's a wonderful, wonderful carver named Lynn Doltry who uses it's a box cutter, believe it or not, with the blades. That's fine. Lynn is a amazing carver. He can use that, but I don't recommend that for people. Not because Lynn can't do it. I'm just saying because I think when you first start out, get you a good knife something that you can enjoy, something that you can have, and get you good training, good work, things like that. And when you do that, you'll enjoy yourself. Now see, I just sat there right here and carved a little leaf in just a very short period of time, which is a very simple project. But now you can also dig in here a little bit more. Give that a little bit. Look at that. Where it kind of, you can do that with a knife. You can do that with a gouge. Doesn't matter. Where it kind of looks like that, see? But the main thing is, start off right, okay? When you're just learning, start off right. And if you start off right, and if you work hard and learn, then you will enjoy the wonderful world of wood carving. And you'll enjoy yourself, you'll have a good time, you'll do what is right. And that's the biggest question that I have among beginners, you know, how do I start? How do I work this out? And this is the way you work it out. You work it out by starting with the right materials and with the right learning. Because if you start out with the wrong learning, I guarantee you, you will become discouraged. You will not like what's going on. And I'm not saying right off the bat you're going to have your knife as sharp as this, or you may have to learn to strop your knife more often. But if you get with a good teacher, if you get with somebody who can help you learn how to do it, then you will learn the right way. And like I said, I know there's a lot of people that don't have carving clubs and stuff like that. And I understand that. I didn't have them either, okay, at first, until I got older. But when you learn the right way, there are videos now. There are videos on YouTube of people teaching you how to sharpen and stuff like that. Try to learn the right way, and you will have a wonderful experience learning how to carve. Okay? All right, well, this is just a little learning video that I get letters daily from people all over the world wanting to know what is the best way to start, what is, and so teaching, you know, being a teacher is just like anything else. It's teaching the beginners as well as the advanced carvers or people who have learned. But remember one thing, I didn't get this way by just one day sitting down and doing it. I got this way by practicing, by learning new techniques, by doing those things, by learning from others. And when you stop learning, that's when things get bad. So anyway, God bless you now. And we've got our little project done here, and the explanation of basswood, a sharp knife, and how to do it. So, okay, God bless you now.